Hey guys, welcome to You the Boss podcast, episode 57. I'm your host, Pam, and today we're going to be talking about taking inventory about what you're saying to yourself. In this episode, we're going to listen to the quiet. We're going to dig a little bit into the world of self-talk. We're going to talk about the different things that we say to ourselves that are damaging us, that are hurting our boss abilities, and they're all said by us. We have to take an honest inventory of the things that we're saying to ourselves, things that we're saying daily, what we're doing, what we're thinking, and how we could be potentially holding ourselves back, without even realizing it. So let's just get honest. Let's just think about the last time you made a mistake, you dropped something, you forgot something, and the immediate thought is, ugh, I'm a mess. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. Oh man, I'm losing it. I'm losing my marbles. And we're so quick to minimize ourselves and call ourselves a name and categorize ourselves. And while the intention behind that is really more to apologize to ourselves, we are actually hurting ourselves when we do that. And this matters because that that inner dialogue is so powerful. It's so powerful that you don't realize that you're impacting with that negative self-talk, you're impacting your self-esteem, you're impacting your future decisions, you're impacting your life. And I won't get too into the specifics because I'm working on bringing in someone down the line that is going to speak about this, but there is, something to it with the science of neuroplasticity. And I've mentioned this before on this podcast where I've talked about this book that I typically try to read once a year or once every other year. And it's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. I will be putting that information in the show notes. You guys know that I love to read and I love to bring heat to you guys and just bring information to you. And he has a book, I think, that he talks about when it comes to neuroplasticity and like how the science of self talk and how, different researchers have looked into just how in depth what we say to ourselves really impacts us. And I think it's important to bring up why that matters because again, like I mentioned, of all the different ways that it's impacting our lives and we don't realize it. And I know that you might send this to someone and say, "I hope that you speak better to yourself." Or maybe you're literally listening to this episode and you're like, "This is for me." I don't realize of all the different things that I say to myself. And that's what we're here for. This is You the Boss podcast. You're the boss. You're in control. You're the person that can do and undo all the different things that have been brought to you or the cards that have been dealt to you. And it's important to recognize that because it is not going to be easy work. It is simple work, but it is not easy. And the reason that it's not easy is because you need to make a cognizant choice every single day to really be in touch with what it is that you're saying to yourself. You know, there's different patterns that we fall into. There is the negative self-talk, like I mentioned, like when you forget things or that inner critic, so some of it, yes, having to do with that imposter syndrome, but just that inner critic, like you're consistently criticizing yourself. You're consistently, maybe even someone told you years ago that maybe you weren't enough and you have added that to your inner critic. You have said you're not enough. You see, I told you. And you're making it personal. You're adding on you're almost adding it to your personality of saying, someone said that you were dumb, someone said that you weren't enough, someone said that you couldn't achieve something and you made it personal. You instead of rejecting it and throwing it out, you catered it to yourself. And there are a lot of times where we don't realize that until someone else brings it up. So if someone did send you this episode, it's because number one, they care about you, and number two, they want to point it out to you that maybe you're having this negative connotation, this negative conversation with yourself, and they really want you to improve. And another kind of pattern that you may not have realized is like a mind reading. Maybe you're consistently putting yourself in a mindset where you're going to always assume what other people are thinking. And I don't remember what audio I heard it on or what book I read it in, but it was very specific to say that there is one thing everyone else is doing, and that is that they think that other people are thinking about them. They must think this, or who does she think she is, or what are they going to think when I post this? And they must think I'm all over the place, and et cetera, et cetera. And again, that is that self talk. You're talking yourself into these moments of being a negative self talk to yourself. And it's so important to start to realize those patterns and to realize that they're holding you back. They're holding you back from where you can catapult to. I want to give you a moment to reflect. What's something that you've said to yourself today that you would never say to someone you love? Whether that's calling yourself a name, an adjective, or saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. I am just not good enough. I'm just not good at this. And I want you to take a few minutes and journal about this. Maybe it's in your notes app. Maybe you're a notebook and pen kind of person. But I want you to write this down. I want you to think about the different, it could be multiple, it could just be one thought. But think about the things that you may think of yourself that do not serve you. I want you to name it. I want you to challenge it, and I want you to replace it. And we're going to touch a little bit on that in this episode towards the end. But I want you to take those three things. I want you to figure out what that thought is. I want you to challenge it. I want you to say why it's not true. And then I want you to replace it. I want you to begin to reprogram your inner dialogue. And I want you to create a list of affirmations for yourself that don't feel fake. Maybe you're on a health and fitness journey, and it's not going to necessarily work for you to, from the gate, say, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny. That's not going to work for you because it's not real. It's fake right now. I want you to begin to speak to yourself like you're talking to your best friend, like as if a mentor. If you're mentoring yourself, I want you to speak life into yourself. I want you to be able to shape your words to work for you and your inner dialogue. You see, everyone is always so wrapped up online about, manifest this and put these pictures on this vision board and etc. And while that is so important, that is not the entire formula. What you say when you talk to yourself is so important in that formula. It is a bigger part of the formula than manifesting itself because it is the roots of the plant, basically. Like when you put a seed into the dirt and you water it and you give it its sunlight and all of those things, you are taking away basically the dirt from the seed and the water and the sunshine by not being able to give yourself the proper inner self-talk. And you want to catch yourself doing this in real time. So again, we're going to definitely put together, a couple of things towards the end of this episode where you're just going to recognize how you can start to reframe your inner dialogue. And I want you to know that before I get started on those couple of things, you have what you need to take your power and run with it. You already have it. You're already who you think you're not. And while there are several episodes on this podcast where I've done 2 episodes on imposter syndrome, an episode or 2 about your inner dialogue and your self talk, at the end of the day, if you do nothing with this information, boss, you're not going to change. For you to change, something has to change. I hate to be the cliche, but also I'm not going to not be the cliche. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to make it real because you need to understand that for you to level up next, you have to take responsibility in what it is that you're saying to yourself. So here's a little bit of like a starter kit, for better self-talk. Number 1, start a self-talk tracker. For the next 3 days, from whenever you hear this episode or from whenever you're ready to start, because that's a key. If you're not ready to start yet, don't. For the next 3 days, jot down any negative or harsh things that you say about yourself. Don't judge it, just notice it. Be aware. Awareness is step 1 in anything. Number 2, create a reframe phrase, something that you're going to change the wording of something. Pick a common negative thought that maybe you've thought to yourself several times, and I want you to write it in a gentler way for yourself. Make it softer, make it nicer, be compassionate with yourself. All this kindness that we show to others, how about we flip it in and show ourselves some kindness? Practice a new way of showing up for yourself when those old ways start to creep in. Number 3, name your inner critic. This one is a little bit fun because you can choose something silly. You can choose, you know, maybe even being like silly goose. When you separate that negative voice from yourself, it becomes almost like you distance yourself from it and you recognize that that's not the real you. This little negative voice inside, this little negative self-talk that tells you that maybe you're not enough, that you can't do something, and calling yourself different adjectives, that's not who you really are. Number 4, choose a daily anchor affirmation. Find something that can ground you. I'm doing my best and that's enough. Say it every morning or maybe when you get wrapped up and something makes you like spiral. It makes you kind of like spin out. Find something that is going to bring you back, reel you in, ground you. I'll give you the example that one of those for me when I'm feeling anxious or something has just happened and there might be a little bit of uncertainty. I've adopted the saying of keep us healthy, keep us safe. Ultimately things are going to happen regardless, Pam. Like these things are going to come, like whatever it is that's happening, but keep us healthy, keep us safe. That's one of my daily anchor affirmations. Number 5, do a self-kindness audit. If you find yourself saying something to yourself, I want you to ask, would I be saying this to my best friend? Would I say this to and insert the person that is very important to you, or even if you have children or you are around children, or you have nieces, you have nephews, you have people you're very close to that have children, would you say this to them? And if you wouldn't say it to them, make sure that you rewrite the thought and how you would kindly say this to this person. And number 6, set a weekly check-in reminder. Pick one time a week where you get to reflect. So for you, that might be Monday. For other people, it might be Sunday. It could be Wednesday. Whatever day you want. This is your life. Pick the day, the time once a week where you reflect. How did I talk to myself this week? Did I make any progress? Even if it was tiny, tiny, tiny progress. Did I make any progress? What can I do to shift in the week ahead? And the reason these things are important to you, I don't say them to you as another six couple of things that you could do in your life and something else to add to your list. But number one, you're listening to You the Boss podcast. So that to me means that you, in some way, shape, or form, want to level up your life. You want to level up your mindset, and you want to level up the trajectory of your life. So whether that's in your world, leaving a legacy for your family, or just being the best person that you can be every single day, I want you to mold it in the best way possible. I want you to take the clay of the world, of the cards that you've been handed, and I want you to mold it to the best of your ability. Because at the end of the day, the person that you will live with from the moment that you're born until the moment that you die, no matter who you meet, who you love, that person is you. So why not take this one life and speak to yourself in such a way every single day where you realize everything you say is being created, and it is your responsibility. It is up to you to make it happen. Thank you for listening. Come back again next week for another episode of You the Boss podcast.